Have you ever heard the phrase before, money talks and all the rest walk? Now, I'm not a cusser or swearer, so I'm not going to use the terminology that's generally used in referring to that particular term or statement. But what I am going to say is that the true privilege in America is all about the Benjamins, baby. That's what it's all about. So many of you are aware, and for those of you who are not, that the 16 charges against Jussie Smollett have been dismissed. They've been dismissed. And he's doing, he did some community service, so-called community service, which was 2 days of stuffing envelopes in Jesse Jackson's office, $10,000 fine, which is the money they kept for the bail. And the prosecutors are sealing the records, and he gets to go out and proclaim his innocence, okay, unchecked. What is that saying about what's going on in America? It says the same thing that's been going on in America and around the world for millennia. That when you have power, money, and influence, you can get away with just about anything. I mean, it's just the way it is. Why am I saying this about this particular case? Well, let's take the facts as they are laid out. Number one, most people have no clue just how connected and influential Jussie Smollett is. And many people around the country who are unfamiliar with him would find it to be very surprising, but he's extremely well connected. He's done work with the Obama campaign. He's been involved in politics. He's been involved in several different movements. And he, like I said, he knows people in positions of power. So for instance, supposed community service that he did this past weekend was he was stuffing envelopes at Jesse Jackson's office, taking pictures, showing him how to shoot commercials, that sort of thing. Now, is it really community service? That's very iffy because the judge didn't actually order that. He went out on his own. Obviously, this was coordinated. He went out, did this quote community service, and so they're counting that as being part of the reason, or saying that they're counting that as being part of the reason why they dropped the charges. The next point is the chief of staff of Michelle Obama's office contacted the prosecutor. We know this because they have records of the communications that occurred where she was asking them to drop the charges, asking them to make this whole thing go away. All right, let's make this whole thing go away. Let's move it to the federal system. Let's move it over here. Let's move it over there. But basically, let's make this whole thing go away. Let's pretend that this did not happen. Do you think that if you found yourself in a similar situation, or God forbid, a traffic situation, that the chief counsel or the head of Michelle Obama's office is going to call the prosecutor, contact the prosecutor and say, you know what, we're just going to make this whole thing go away. Let's pretend that this never happened. Do you think that they're going to do that for you? No, they're not. The next thing is that he's a celebrity. So he has public influence and he has money. And like I said, money talks. All right. So you had the perfect combination, perfect recipe to help him to overcome this and get off scot-free. A friend of mine said to me years ago, he says, Joe, if you have enough money, you can get away with just about anything. And you know what? He's exactly right. Now, the prosecutor himself has stated that he believes that this was all a hoax, that what stuff Jussie Smollett did was a hoax. He has stated that the evidence proves that it was all a hoax. This is the prosecutor just, yesterday, even though he's saying he's not going to prosecute these offenses. He stated, well, he's not going to do it because, it's a nonviolent offense. He doesn't want to waste the money. And, in the bigger, larger scheme of things, he's got a whole lot of violent crimes that need to be addressed, some more serious issues, which is a bunch of malarkey. Because our prisons are filled with individuals, filled with capacity. In some areas, they're overflowing. There's not enough room and not enough space with individuals who have been prosecuted for nonviolent offenses. That's just the truth. Packed with individuals who have been prosecuted for nonviolent offenses. The majority of people who are in our penal system, the majority of people who go through our justice system, who find themselves prosecuted, are prosecuted for nonviolent offenses. That's just the truth. And so we find this situation occurring because, again, he has connections. He knows the right people. He has money, and he has celebrity. And the fact that it was done with no prerequisite that he cannot speak about what's going on says a lot about how corrupt the system actually is. Because here he is now going out and saying, well, I was telling the truth the whole time, and I'm anxious to get back to work and keep making money and this, that, and the other. He's not repentant about what's going on, and so, I just am a big believer in character. I'm a believer in integrity. And what it says to me is that you, as the average citizen, are going to have to conduct yourself, and should already, not just because of this case, you got to conduct yourself above board. Because, again, Michelle Obama's office is not calling to get you out of a situation. You don't have the money to get yourself out of a situation, and you don't have the celebrity to get yourself out of a situation. You don't have the connections to get yourself out of a situation like that. He does. When I hear people on television or personalities on television saying they've never seen anything like this happen before, we see this happen all the time. Celebrities get let go all the time. People with money get let go all the time, or reduced sentences. Stuff gets covered up, swept under the rug. It happens all the time, folks. This is nothing new. And it's not just here in America. It's around the world. That's the way the system works, because it's all about the Benjamin's baby. That's what it's about. So I charge you or challenge you to stay above board. Don't allow yourself to get into a situation where you find yourself having to deal with a prosecutor. I don't care if it's a traffic ticket. You're not going to be treated in the same way as this individual, because you don't have access to those resources. Is it right? No, it's not right. It's wrong. But that's the world we live in. And because we're so divided as a people, they're playing black folks against white folks, against Hispanic folks, against Asians, against Native Americans, everybody's being played. That's the reason why things are the way they are. We're focused on so-called white privilege, when the real privilege is about the dollar bills. They don't care anything about your skin complexion. They care about how much money you have in the bank. Does this country have historical issues and historical wrongs? Is there racism? Is there sexism? Are those things real? Yes, they're real. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about the money. What do you have in your account? Who do you know? What resources do you have access to? That's what it's all about, all right? So this says a lot about what's going on in America today. It says a lot about what's going on in the world and everything around us, okay? Don't get dismayed. It's time to come together as people and make a difference, okay? So I want to challenge you guys to subscribe below. Make sure you click on the button, and please support me. I have numerous books, over 16 books that I've written that are currently on Amazon. They're available for sale, from anything about fatherhood to leadership to character and integrity. And so I want to encourage you to pick up one of my books as well. So God bless you guys. Have an absolutely wonderful day. Remember, we need to begin standing together. That's the only way the system is going to change.